Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Lojak. We are doing a series of videos right now covering Bitcoin, and we have a Bitcoin expert joining us today, Justin. He's been telling us all about what Bitcoin is, how to acquire it, how to redeem them, and now we're going to get into a little bit more in depth into the risks and, of course, the rewards, the big benefits of using Bitcoin. The reason Bitcoin has risen and exploded as it has is because there are a lot of benefits for using Bitcoin over anything else, especially if you're talking about using them with regard to funding sports books. What would you say are the top benefits to using Bitcoin in general?
The biggest benefit is that it's free and instant. Mm-hmm. So mining fees, people might hear if they start learning about Bitcoin, you're talking about 2 to 4 cents. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't matter whether you send 2 cents or send $100,000.
Right.
So the free and instant open nature are the big benefits.
So when it comes to sports books, a lot of sports books will give you, free deposits, free payouts, but they're eating those costs. And right. When it comes to Bitcoin, it's free just because there are no costs to anyone.
And on the withdraw side, there's no cost. So yeah, there's
right.
nothing happening.
Okay, what are some other benefits that you can think of that might apply to either someone using Bitcoin in general or specifically someone using it to fund a sports book to work with sports betting?
Myself personally, my favorite part about Bitcoin is that it has no borders. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter where I'm sitting and where I'm trying to send that money to. It just doesn't matter. Just right. Like I'm sending an email to someone in Japan, I don't care if they're in Japan or here with me.
Right, and then another topic which a lot of people seem to see as a big benefit, but is a little bit confusing to some people, is the issue of privacy right. and anonymity. What is the deal with Bitcoin and as it relates to anonymity and privacy, and why is that so valuable to some people?
Yeah, there's a big misconception from the mainstream media that Bitcoin is anonymous. Mm-hmm. It's not anonymous, mm-hmm. But you can maintain your privacy by taking a few steps. Mm-hmm. So like I mentioned, opening your own wallet. So if you have your own wallet on your phone or your PC, if you actually control it, you have the ability to add a layer of privacy. Mm-hmm. No one has to know that you have that wallet. It doesn't have an association to your name, whereas like an exchange will have your name because they're sending wires to right. your named account.
It might be a little bit of a subtle point, but go into it a little bit. What you mean by what is the misconception of anonymity that the mainstream media has that is false?
So the false aspect of it is that every Bitcoin transaction is broadcast to everyone in the world. Oh. So it's a public ledger is really how the underlying functionality of it. So everyone can see that account 123 sent 1 Bitcoin to account ABC.
So, but they don't know the names associated with those accounts, and that's why people.
If you're just watching the network, you don't necessarily know. But let's say you're at Coinbase and you send to account DAF, they know who sent that.
Right.
So by placing your own wallet in the middle of all transactions, you've basically created plausible deniability in your own right. It's your own bank.
So basically, the benefits to Bitcoin are the same as the benefits to the rest of the internet. It's just much cheaper and much easier. Cheap and easy, right?
Those are the 2 big ones, yeah.
All right. Now, there are risks. The reason it's intimidating is because, there are risk concerned. People have issues with that. I guess the first one, let's discuss volatility with the exchange. I mean, usually it's pretty stable, but there can be, historically there have been big booms and big crashes. What do you have to say about people who are concerned about possible volatility?
Yeah, so Bitcoin, the currency, has pretty rapid price swings. Yeah. The USD to US to Euro is pretty small percentage changes right. every day, but every currency has this volatility.
Sure.
It's just a question of how much. And Bitcoin is rather large. It's a new experiment. It's not backed by any government, so the markets get kind of crazy whenever there's news. So as a new user, there is a way to avoid this. Mm-hmm. The way is to not hold Bitcoin, the currency, for very long. Mm-hmm. So one of the harder parts about Bitcoin is that the word actually means 2 things. Bitcoin with a big B means the payment network or the whole system, and Bitcoin with a small b means the currency. Mm-hmm. And usually when people are confused, they're thinking of one and meaning right. the other. So if you only hold Bitcoin, the small b, for a small amount of time, you aren't exposed to the volatility risk.
Right.
For more than a minute, 15 minutes, an hour, you're okay. If you're holding it for days, years, that's when you see the big shifts. So to avoid that, once you acquire that Bitcoin, then you just send it where it needs to go to fund your account or off to purse to buy that good on Amazon.
Right.
You just do it at one fell swoop, and you're fine.
All right, so that settles that then. So if you really are concerned about volatility, solution is just make sure you don't hold Bitcoin for more than, although you can hold it for days. I mean, recently, it's usually pretty stable, but there are, at times, explosive swings. And if you want to avoid that, just do it same day or same hour or same minute, and no problem, right?
Yeah, tons of gamblers actually really like the roller coaster ride of the price up and down. I personally do. But for those that don't, you can just use the payment network and not the currency.
So for that, you would need a Bitcoin wallet that has that can hold both Bitcoins and dollars?
You can do it that way, or just send quickly. So when you receive Bitcoin into your wallet that doesn't have a dollar account, just send it along to one that does and convert.
And so this process of like quickly converting Bitcoins into dollars is to someone who who's just listening to this, it might sound a little bit confusing, but it's basically the same as any other internet interaction. It's just a matter of a couple of clicks.
A couple clicks of a mouse and it's all instant.
And you see the confirmation. All right. And then I guess the other issue, which again we touched on in the first segment, is just the matter of security. I mean, people are concerned precisely because, as you said, there's no bank behind it. I mean, the one benefit of having, Citibank, your account at Citibank, is that there's branches there, and if there's a problem, there's someone you can talk to.
Right.
What would you say to people who are concerned about, the issue of security, that they might wake up one day and find that their wallet is empty? They're afraid of nefarious Eastern European hackers or something.
Yeah, so the banks are there to support you and also, take you with a million cuts every fee they can, whereas Bitcoin doesn't. So with Bitcoin, you have to be a little more conscious of what you're doing. But the good news is, because this is the first time there's been actual money on the internet, a lot of security advances have come through the Bitcoin space. So a lot of Bitcoin wallets will have something called two-factor authentication. And there's a lot of other different ways that you can protect yourself.
Right.
And the new software that's come out in the last 12 months has really made it idiot-proof. So that's why I can use it.
You're not. Come on.
You can also do things like, so I have some Bitcoin on my phone, but I've got that backed up. So even if I lose my phone, my money's safe. Whereas if I lose my physical wallet, my $100 bill, that's gone. In the Bitcoin world, you can enact strategies to protect your money against anything.
Right. I mean, when your regular bank account, you take precautions as well, like your PIN number, right? You use a PIN number. You don't tell your friends or anyone your PIN number. So for a total newbie who wants to set up a wallet, what would you tell them would be the first basic steps for just basic common sense security measures that they should take, similar to if you have a bank account, don't tell anyone your PIN number?
It really depends on the wallet software that you're using, and there's a lot of great ones out there. The one piece of advice I would say is just slow down and read what the wallet is telling you, because they've all taken users through all of these processes before. So they'll say, as you're opening it up, do you want to back it up? If you're only going to have $1 on there, it's just like a test, don't worry about it. But if you're planning on having substantial money, go ahead and back it up then. So the thing I would say is just the wallets will basically walk you through all the steps that you should be taking.
Okay.
Just slow down and follow those.
So a lot of the better wallets have built-in instructions that they
guardrails to say, and they'll give you a big warning if you go off those and say, you must be an advanced user if you know what you're doing, and then you obviously want to sway the other direction.
Right, and I know that like the one thing that I've read, and tell me if this is true or not, that basically your PIN number, your identification number is everything. Your password is everything when it comes to Bitcoin, and they're very long and complicated. You have to keep it in a very safe place, because if someone steals it, then you're out of luck. So how do you like keep it written down in some kind of code someplace, or what do you do for that to make sure that you don't forget your code, but also make sure that it's not easily stolen by someone else?
Yeah, and that's a problem that applies to everything on the internet.
Right, sure.
Bitcoin just happens to have more value than most of your other accounts.
Right.
So the two things that I personally do to protect my funds and all of my Facebook account and everything is I use two-factor authentication. So if you look up Google Authenticator or Authy, basically that means that the only way that someone can get into your account is they have to physically have a device that you already own. So basically excludes all hackers in the world that aren't very, very close to you.
Right, and also means that you couldn't access your account with someone else's computer.
You can, as long as, let's say, you use a phone as your two-factor authentication. As long as you got your phone with you, you can use any computer in the world. So for travelers, that's obviously important. The second method that I would advocate is use a password manager. So this is just more general advice for all the passwords that you have out there. You can use something like KeePassX or LastPass, and then need to remember only one password. So you keep that secure, and then it stores all of your other passwords. So a lot of individuals in the Bitcoin space use this, because then you can have a 55-character password for your Bitcoin account. but you don't have to remember it because it wouldn't be possible.
Okay, that's very interesting. So basically what you're saying is that it's same like with anything else in life or anything else on the internet, nothing is 100% risk-free, but if you take precautions, you really shouldn't have anything to worry about. And you have Bitcoins yourself, and you're not concerned that anything like that will happen to you.
Yeah, there's $6 billion in Bitcoin right now. So that's the market cap that's all sitting there, and there's people trying to hack it all the time.
Right.
The good news is that the software now has been developed and the security forethought has come forward to allow users to do this safely without worrying too much, and so you can sleep at night.
All right, well, thanks so much for your time, Justin. If anyone has any follow-up questions, which I'm sure that they do, you can ask those questions. Come to sbrforum.com, and you'll see these videos in the forum. You can post them in the videos, and we will either answer them there, or maybe we'll even have you back to answer some follow-up questions in person. And of course, once again, Bookmaker is offering a very generous bonus to anyone who wants to get involved with using Bitcoin for the first time. Just send an email to freeplay@bookmaker.eu and send your Bookmaker account and your Bitcoin wallet ID, and they will hook you up with a $25 free play in Bitcoin. Great way to get started. Thanks so much, Justin, for all your time.
Thank you, Peter.